All right, as Leroy Jenkins says, let's do this.
All right. It didn't work out too well for him, though.
No. Although he did become a very good meme. So, I mean, if you want to be a meme, then, follow suit, I guess.
Follow good old Leroy. All right. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the controller. That's not even funny enough to start the show, but that's okay. We're just going to do it anyway. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Controller Throwers podcast. This is podcast episode number 96 for Tuesday, March 26, 2019. Hello, everybody. I am Mike. With me, as always, is Mr. Kurt.
Hello.
And Mr. Brian.
Howdy.
And Miss Sherry.
Hi, guys.
How's everyone been? We all look frustrated. Everybody looked angry.
I'm not. I'm tired.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm having major technical difficulties, and I'm afraid that my computer is... So, yeah.
Oh.
I like the fish tank behind you, though.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You see my Patrick?
That's a nice background.
There's a Patrick right there.
It's a star.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So, Mike,
hopefully...
Mike, are we doing anything special for the 100th episode?
We're just not doing that one.
That's funny is that you're assuming we're gonna
skip it.
We're gonna make it to episode 100.
Didn't we say that about episode 5?
That's true. We'll celebrate episode 100. We'll do something nice. I don't know what that is yet. We'll broadcast live from, I don't know, the same places we normally broadcast live from.
El Faro.
El Faro, there we go.
There we go.
You better not
The Brilliant
quit.
Podcast.
Yeah. You can't tell me what to do. All right, so let's get...
No, I just got to plug in before I forget. Go ahead.
Good
We're
call.
fine.
All right, let's let's go ahead and get started with the news. So last week, Nintendo had their Nindie Direct, where they announced a slew, and yes, I am using that word today, slew of Nindie games coming out for the Nintendo Switch. Among these games, so I'm gonna just give you a quick blast on some of the games that were announced. Stranger Things 3, the game, which launches just in time for the Stranger Things Season 3 for the show. So it takes place within that same season, kind of like a side story. So to get the full experience of Stranger Things, you'll have to watch the show and play the game. A game called Red Lantern, where you are in charge, you are partaking in the Iditarod. So you're going to be manning a sled full of husky doggies, and will be encountering all sorts of wildlife and dangers as you try to win the Iditarod. There's a game called Rad, which is short for Radioactive. It's a top-down puzzle type action game. Another game, Katana Zero, and that comes out April 18th. Which is a stylish 2D action platformer where you're playing as an assassin trying to assassinate people. Yeah. What else? A game called Nuclear Throne, which is available now. Another top-down shooter called Super Crate Box, and that releases in April. We found some more information about this crazy game, My Friend Pedro, which is kind of like a mixture of like Deadpool and Max Payne. It's a 2D game and it has a talking banana, so it works for me. This one looks interesting.
Bananas.
Yep. Creature in the Well, a dungeon crawler with pinball aspects, and that comes out in the summer, so that looks interesting. They silently dropped Blaster Master Zero 2, which is a sequel to Blaster Master Zero, which itself is a remake of the original Blaster Master, which is now available. A game called Overland, which is a procedurally generated survival road trip. I love how these indie games have all these adjectives in them. It's like every new generation of indies is going to add an extra adjective until one day it's just, top-down, roguelike, RPG, world building, simulator. 3D. Darkwood. What's that, Bray?
I was going to say that those adjectives have got me a little curious about the game, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the road trip one, Overland. I also forgot to add post-apocalyptic. That's another one.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah. Darkwood, a top-down survival horror game. That looks pretty good. And then the two big ones that everyone's talking about. The first, I have to say, I was freaking out when I saw it. This is amazing news. We are finally getting Cuphead on the Switch.
Yay!
That's sad that only half of us are excited. The other two have this look in their eyes, like I'm shining them in the face with a giant flashlight and then bludgeoning them over the head with a salmon.
I'm sorry. Yay!
At least you weren't shining the salmon in my eyes and bludgeoning me with the flashlight.
That's true. That's true.
I seriously will buy Kurt this game if he streams it.
Ooh.
I want to see Kurt rage through this game. Brian, I think I made you the same offer too, Mr. Man.
Nice.
Brian would probably be better at shimming it because he'd be flipping tables, like literally.
It would be entertaining.
Yeah. And then
my streak has been good with not flipping tables anymore, so I don't know if I want to go over that again.
And then he'd run out of tables to flip, so he'd grab his like phone or something and live stream him running to his neighbor's house and flipping their tables too.
I have to flip your table. Why? Because I ran out of tables.
And he's just running down the street, and all of a sudden he stops at like Table Warehouse Emporium, and he just starts shaking. He runs and just kicks open the doors. All right, folks, this is what we prepared for. You all know the emergency procedures. But what I'm saying is, yes, Cuphead is coming out for the Switch, and we'll get to that in a moment. PlayPod says, if I get it on Switch, I may stream it or not. I don't know. Absolutely stream it. Cuphead is the greatest to stream. Nice. It's always fun. And then finally, Cadence of Hyrule, which came out of nowhere, which is a amalgamation of Crypt of the Necrodancer as well as Legend of Zelda. So it's in the gameplay of that style of gameplay of Crypt of the Necrodancer with Legend of Zelda characters and music and all that other good stuff. So we got a lot of announcements, a ton of stuff that was announced over the half hour. But I have to say, Cadence of Hyrule looks interesting. I'm not sure if I'm going to get. I might have to get Crypt of the Necrodancer though, just to see if I enjoy that style of gameplay, because it's that isometric view, that 2D top-down view, but you're not moving freely. You're like hopping from square to square almost. So I don't know. That's kind of a difficult one to kind of gauge. So I'll have to see if that's worth. But it looks phenomenal.
Okay.
But the big news out of here is the Cuphead announcement and what this means for the future of Nintendo and Microsoft.
They finally like each other.
Yeah.
They tolerate each other.
Yes.
I don't know if they like each other yet.
Right. Yeah, that's probably a better way to say
it. We're getting a Microsoft-owned property. Well, I'm not going to say Microsoft doesn't own it. Studio MDHR owns Cuphead. Microsoft owns the console rights to it. But still, through a good working relationship with Microsoft, that's how this game is appearing on the Switch. And
it's huge.
If this is man, if this, and we all know it's going to be successful. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's actually, if you go on the eShop right now, the game isn't even out yet. It doesn't come out till mid-April, and it's already number 3 on the top 10 best-selling games. The pre-order for it.
Hey, but I have a question though. Isn't Minecraft like that? Doesn't Microsoft own the rights to Minecraft?
Yeah.
So isn't Cuphead in the same aspect, kind of just like how Minecraft is?
It's
a property of Sony or Microsoft, but distributed out to other consoles.
But the difference is it hit all those other consoles before Microsoft bought it.
Okay. Yeah, okay, but Microsoft could have just said, "Hey, we own it now, and forget you guys, we're keeping it."
Right. Exactly. And then, so what does this mean for other potential, like, crossovers, or, there's already this rumor about that Steve is going to be a playable character in Smash. There's no evidence, but it's just a rumor, so, but I'm excited to hear, does this mean that maybe, since Microsoft and Nintendo are working well together, that we'll get Banjo-Kazooie on the Switch?
Oh.
Yeah.
Be nice.
They really should. That would be an awesome game to update or remaster and put back out there for sure.
What do you think the possibilities then of maybe seeing Mario on the Xbox?
Nope, not going to happen.
No way, not Mario.
If anything, maybe a Mario skin on the Microsoft version of Minecraft, if they are not doing that already, but we'll never see anything Mario like that on the Switch.
So, and any first person or any Nintendo properties you think you'll ever see?
Nope, I don't think we'll see any Nintendo properties on the...
So this will all be Microsoft giving to Nintendo and nothing getting...
Well...
I mean, what's what's Microsoft getting out of this deal?
Cash money.
Cash is king.
That's what they're getting out of it. Think about it this way: Microsoft is big on software. They release a lot of software. That's where they make a lot of their money. And in their eyes, let's release this game for the Xbox. Now that the sales have kind of run dry, let's release it on another system that's not really in direct competition with us. So, and plus, and here's the other thing. We all know that Microsoft's presence in Japan is awful. Like there's almost no presence. They're like the Dreamcast, how the Dreamcast was out here.
Which is the exact opposite of what Nintendo is out there.
Right. So So what they're doing now is Nintendo's got a big presence in Japan, and with Microsoft putting some of their stuff out on the Switch, it not only are they making money on the software, but they can also potentially sell some of their hardware too.
Bump their sales, bump the Xbox sales up in a new market, or a market they're not doing that well in.
Right, exactly. So I don't know. It's gonna be I'm excited for it, but at the same time I'm aggravated because I want to get Cuphead day one, but they also announced they're gonna release a physical edition of it.
Oh man!
And I can only imagine like what kind of goodies and stuff come with the physical version, so I have to get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think the price point is going to be? You think it's still going to be $20?
It is. It's $20.
Okay.
And they're not changing the difficulty.
Oh,
I'm sorry. The physical? I don't know how much the physical. Yeah. I'm sure they're probably going to do like a physical limited edition or something that's probably going to be like 40 or 50. But if it comes
that's the thing. I don't know if I would pop for a physical if I already have it on PC. For 20 I might just to collect it, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I'll have to wait and see.
You know me and Cuphead junk.
I know.
So, yeah,
I know my stuff's over there.
So yeah.
You should just like take a picture of the box and printed it out on a Switch case.
How dare you, sir? That is blasphemy in the world of Cuphead fandom.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. You can
Just
excuse
saying.
yourself now, sir.
Yes.
You're done.
Just saying.
So a lot of good indie games that were announced for the Switch. Looking forward to giving those a try. But of course, I'm most excited about Cuphead, as were a lot of gamers.
Sure.
I thought Rad was gonna be like a Rad Racer type thing. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I do like Rad Racer.
Like
But
a
no.
Rad Racer Reborn.
What if Microsoft's what if they put like Snake Rattle and Roll and RC Pro-Am and stuff on the Switch now? Or Battletoads, the original Battletoads. All right, we're thinking too much here. Let's yeah.
Okay, well, anyways, feeling left out, Microsoft has announced their own Direct as well, named ID at Xbox Game Pass. The first episode will air March 26th at 11 o'clock Central Time. Microsoft said in a post, you can expect to learn more about the hottest ID at Xbox titles coming to the Xbox Game Pass, with new arrivals, gameplay highlights, and conversations with the developers. The post went on to say that we'll hear new information on After Party, Void Bastards, and Supermarket Trek, as well as new game announcements. The video will be available on YouTube.
And we missed it.
That was today, yes.
That was today. But
Yeah.
I'm looking through it. Wait a second. Oh, no. I'm sorry. It's at 11 o'clock tonight.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No, well, I didn't say whether it was AM or PM.
No, well, it says. Wait a minute.
It
No.
didn't say in the notes.
I had that mixed up. It already happened. It was at 11 a.m. So, but they're really pushing this as well. It only announced 3 indie games to hit Xbox Game Pass on their release, along with a lineup of games coming to PAX East. So it wasn't anything crazy like a Nintendo, like a Direct or an indie Direct was, but it's just kind of more like a heads up video. It wasn't really a straight up copy. So nothing crazy, but yeah, it wasn't a copy. So that's all we got for that news. There's nothing big on that.
Nope.
Well, speaking of copies,
Xbox is doing things, and
Yeah.
that's it.
speaking of copies, Sony had their own Nintendo style release called the Sony State of Play. This focused a lot on their VR and the upcoming games that are coming out for that particular system. We have Iron Man VR, which is hitting the PlayStation VR this year. Excuse me. We have a No Man's Sky Beyond, which updates for the PS VR. So if you have the No Man's Sky already, you'll be getting this update. Blood and Truth, that's an action game. There's a bunch of other titles that are hitting the PSVR this year. A couple more are Five Nights at Freddy's. Concrete Genie, it looks like a mix between Jet Set Radio and Epic Mickey. Crash Team Racing, that shows off a battle mode and retro skins. And there is also new trailers for Observation, Days Gone, and Mortal Kombat 11.
Now I have to say, this No Man's Sky now I still have the game, and I only have the game because Nugget Stop will only give me like $3 for it, and I'm like, it's not worth it. But seeing that there's a VR update for No Man's Sky, this is what a lot of people were asking for when the game was first announced. They said this game needs to be a VR game. Plus, it's going to have like a true multiplayer update where like you can see your friends, they can see you, and it's going to play exactly like it should have. I don't know, man.
I think after 3 years, they finally may be getting it right.
Yeah.
And I will say this though, good for them for not giving up on it. You know, and I'll be honest with you. When I heard Iron Man and No Man's Sky for VR, to be able to fly around and to look around in space or up in the atmosphere or even down in a city. I mean, I've put VR headsets on before and kind of looked around and did a little the Best Buy preview stations that they've had.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about some of these. I think they're really going to be pushing this a lot more come the rest of PlayStation 4 and the PS5.
Yeah, so we'll get through all the games on here. So yeah, the Iron Man VR looks interesting. I know a lot of people were excited about it. Like, oh, nice, because Spider-Man just hit, and Spider-Man was a commercial and critical success. So everybody's all excited. They're like, oh, wow, Spider-Man, now it's Iron Man. This is going to be awesome. There's a whole Marvel thing. Oh, it's a VR game. So they got a little salty that it was like... Because the thing is, a lot of VR games, PlayStation VR games, are glorified tech demos that you just or like mini game compilations, things like that. But yeah, to hear that was kind of like people were all excited at first and then got disappointed. But this other game, Blood and Truth, that looks like an actual full-fledged entire game. So that looks interesting. Of course, Five Nights at Freddy's. All the kids like the Five Nights. Is that still a thing? Is that still popular? Do kids still like Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess. I mean, my kids played it like maybe 2 years ago, but I haven't really heard much about them playing it recently.
Right.
It's still a thing at my school, so I hear about it a lot.
Okay.
Yep.
Concrete Genie looks interesting. That might be the next big thing. That has a very interesting art style where you're painting graffiti and the graffiti comes to life and helps you on your journey and things like that. So, let's see. We got more information. The new trailer for Mortal Kombat 11 looked pretty good. There's some time travel, and so it had like classic characters fighting against the new ones. So like old school Johnny Cage versus the newer version of Johnny Cage. Jax.
Oh.
Yeah. So it looked interesting. It really did. But I must say, so two things. Number one, I'll say yes. So the No Man's Sky update has me intrigued. I have a VR. I'm definitely going to download it and give it a try. So we'll see how it works. And then,
and as far as like just a bunch of mini games, I mean they've ported other games to VR. I mean Skyrim is VR. Resident Evil 7. I mean those are all full games.
Yeah. No, it's powerful.
So it might not be as even Skyrim is I don't know, not Skyrim, but No Man's Sky is somewhat of a full game. I mean, I don't know exactly what the point is of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just want to see what it is. I want to see what it's like. So. Yeah.
Borderlands 2 VR. Yep, that's another one. So yeah.
So there are full games for it. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we'll get more information as it comes.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised VR is actually going as far as it is.
I'm glad that Sony's just not abandoning it like they did with the Vita and the PSP and the Move.
Yeah, I just felt that VR overall on a console was basically going to be like 3D was like for 3D TVs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like 3D in the theater is one thing. 3D on your TV at home, it kind of bombed a little bit. Not a lot of people have a 3D TV or are looking to get a 3D TV. And I have just a feeling that VR is going to be the same way.
Yeah.
Do you think VR is going to go the way of the Kinect then, where it's going to start off really good and then kind of just tank?
Maybe. Or like
this...
Labo.
Yeah, but Labos are still selling, though. I mean, Labos are still...
And there's another one coming out. You can't use Labo as an argument because it didn't bomb.
Yeah.
Well, it is clearanced out or on sale on a deep discount at Target right now. Did you guys see that?
Did you get it?
No.
No, I mean, do you have it at your Target?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been in the electronics department because I don't work over there.
Gotcha.
But I'll have to go look just for,
Yeah.
hoops and giggles.
Yeah. Thank you. But I will say this: the VR. I mean, I enjoy it. PlayPod said that he's got one, and he enjoys it. It's been out for like 2.5 years. I think they've already sold like 4.5 million units. I know that's not a whole lot considering how many PS4s are out there in the wild, but I'm just glad to see it supported. I don't think that VR is ever going to be the next thing.
Right.
Why not?
Why not? Because there's nothing wrong with the traditional system. I don't think there's going to ever be a system that's strictly VR, and that you cannot play it unless you're playing in VR, because in terms of health issues and things like that, it's just not feasible.
Okay.
So
Plus, I just think a lot of people would be turned off by a strictly VR like system. Like I know I would be.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, Nintendo tried that once upon a time.
Yeah, see how well that worked out for
What
them.
what was that though? 20 years ago? 25 years ago?
96. Yeah.
Yeah. Something like
Yeah,
that.
I mean.
Yeah. So.
I mean, I think that if the price point went down for VR, I think it'd be more popular. But I'm talking the price point as far as like when the price point went down for 3D TVs, it was too late. Like by then, people have seen 3D at their friends' houses and stuff like that and went, meh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just hope VR isn't that same way.
I don't think it's going to be. I think there's still plenty of room for it to grow, especially with the next generation of consoles.
I have the feeling, with when the next generation comes out, it's going to be. That's going to kind of not bring it into mainstream, but I think by then they'll be able to really work out all the bugs and the kinks, and there'll be a lot bigger focus on your gaming.
Yep. So, but yeah. So I honestly I don't see VR as being the next big thing. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to be just an add-on. I mean, like you said, unless that price point comes way down.
Yep. All right, that's all we got on that. Let's go.
Speaking of the next big thing, or little things, Nintendo new Switch rumors. We are less than 3 months away from E3, and as is tradition, the rumors will start coming in. Today, the Wall Street Journal reports that Nintendo will launch not one, but 2 Nintendo Switch models in the near future. One of these consoles would be along the lines of a Pro model with enhanced features, and the other console is reportedly a cheaper option for casual gamers that Nintendo sees as a successor to its aging handheld 3DS device. According to the paper, the plan is to announce the new Switch consoles at E3 in June, and then launch them in time for the holiday season. For the lower-cost Switch model, it is supposedly not going to include the Joy-Con's HD rumble feature as part of an effort to cut costs. Nintendo is also reportedly working with Sharp on the displays for the new Switch models. Of course, this is all to be considered rumor, as we won't know anything until June's E3 event. Now, what do you guys think about that? Do you think that that's a good idea to release multiple options for the Switch the same way the other consoles do? Does that intrigue you? Does it make you want to buy one? What do you guys think?
So, my 2 cents, because I always have an opinion on stuff like this. My 2 cents is the rumble feature, right? Seriously, those little motors that are made in Korea or whatever that they put in there as a rumble feature with a little weight on it as the motors turn probably cost them 1/10 of a cent. So, okay, help to cut costs? How? Because, I mean, I understand if you're producing billions of them, 1/10 of a cent will be like, wow, that's a pretty good savings. But I don't know. I'd like to see what other cost-cutting things they're going to do.
Mhm.
Like, are they going to have standard definition instead of HD? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, if they make the more budget friendly Switch, to make it, I guess, more budget friendly, they can get not only they get rid of the HD rumble, which is more than just 2 motors. There's several motors in the console. That's why it's called HD rumble, because it's like a different type of rumble, because you could feel it in different spots on the Joy-Con, as opposed to just the thing shaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true, because there is like there's one game where it's like, oh, you have to feel how many things are inside this thing or whatever, and you can actually feel that in the remote in your hand.
See,
I forgot what game that was.
I don't play Switch, so I don't know. I just thought it was a basic rumble feature.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there's other stuff going on in there besides that.
Yep. And not only that, if they make, so let's say Nintendo releases a budget-friendly Switch, and they do these 3 things. They get rid of the rumble. They make the Joy-Cons part of the system and non-detachable, so they don't need to have the wireless receiver in it, or the wireless transmitter. And they make it a portable only system, so there's no docking station needed. That could effectively cut the price of the system by $100 easily.
Isn't that then just a handheld system?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just makes it a glorified 3DS.
It's the Switch handheld then is what
Right. For people who want to play in just portable mode, the people who
just
don't
portable
want to,
mode.
Right. And for people who don't have any interest in playing on their TV. I will say with my Switch, I'm probably 70-30. 70% of the time I'm playing in handheld mode, 30% of the time I'm playing in docked mode, which when I first bought the system was not what I was expecting. I was expecting to be majority on the TV.
Mhm.
So, let's see.
That's interesting. I mean, I could understand if they did do all those features, I could understand the $100 price break on that. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, and as I just typed in the chat, look what they did with the 3DS. There was the 3DS, there was the 3DS XL, there was the 2DS, there was the 2DS XL, there was the new 3DS, the new 3DS XL. Oh, no, I don't think there was a new 3DS, just regular. And the new 3DS XL. Look at the Game Boy, Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Color. Then look at the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance SP, Game Boy Advance Micro. Look at the DS, DS Fat, DS Lite. So, new DS. So, I think that it's a given that we're going to see this. We're going to get a new iteration of a Switch. But the question is when.
And I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, they got your standard model, your high end model, and your I'm going to say handheld model. I don't want to say a low end model, but your budget friendly model. I mean, I think I see nothing wrong with that. I think it's a good way for them to not only get non-Switch owners into the idea of saying, hey, no, maybe now is a good time to the DS Fat that had me laughing too. But now is maybe a good time to say, hey, maybe now I can go and pick one up.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about that when I saw this story. I was like, maybe now would be a good time for me to jump into it.
So they're basically following suit like with other console makers,
or with their own past.
I would say they've done that too, though, right?
Well,
they've updated their
right, but I'm just saying like next gen consoles. I'm not talking like handhelds or anything else.
I mean, if you think
they've
about
never really done that. They've never really done that for their own consoles. They've only done that for their handhelds.
Well, they've released an updated NES and an updated Super NES. The NES had the Dogbone controller, but they didn't really change. It wasn't really more powerful. It was just more of a different design.
Didn't they update the Wii too?
They had a Wii Mini.
Did they have a Wii Mini?
Yeah.
I know that they have the white Wii, and then they came out with the black one. I didn't know if they had the Mini.
There was a Wii Mini. Came out very late in the system's lifestyle or life
Really?
cycle. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it had a flip up lid. It flips it up and you put the disc in and drop the lid back down. Yep.
I'm gonna have to Google that and
some
research. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So
You
yeah,
learn things with Mike today.
yeah, learning things with Mike. Let's see. So, and then we don't know what the Pro is going to be. I'm sure the Pro is going to have more processing power and maybe even a better screen.
Well, they said they're working with Sharp on the screen and the display, so
Yeah,
maybe.
it would have to do a lot to get me to trade in mine, or you know, to get the new one. Now I got the new 3DS XL because my other 3D my regular 3DS, the R trigger or the shoulder button was broke. So I'm like, I needed to get one, so I'm like, oh, I might as well just wait and get this one when it comes out. So I don't know. I'll have to see if the Switch Pro is worth it, but I don't know. What would they have to do to get you to? Sherry, you own one. What would you think?
I already own
Storage
one.
capacity?
I'm not a fan of like rebuying systems. Like I already have one. That's it. If I didn't have one, then I would consider it, but there's really not a lot that's going to make me buy another system.
Right.
So, like, if they had more memory, more power, and a better display, like those three huge things, right? Like better storage and everything else, would that make you do it, or still be like, no, not really?
I don't know.
No.
Here's the thing: is that I think the only way I would buy it, like if it's just like a bump in specs, or like Tanuki said, a bump in battery life. You know what? I can live with that. You know, that's not a problem. I could live with mine. But if there's like certain games that play better or are only playable on this new one, then that might have to force me to jump in. But I know Nintendo, I mean, they do make games that are only playable on certain systems, like Minecraft on the, I think Minecraft is only playable on the new 3DS XL, and I think Xenoblade was only playable on that system, so they've done that in the past, but I don't know. It would have to be a really good bump in quality for me to make the switch. Yeah, it's a switch. So
what if it was a completely new console?
It wouldn't be. They wouldn't release. Not that this one is selling as well as it is. There's no way they're going to release a new one this early.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah. Fire Emblem Warriors. How could I have forgotten Fire Emblem Warriors? I apologize. So the big question is, Brian, if you were the DSi, that's right. If you were to have a choice between a portable only Switch budget friendly version, the regular one that we got now, or a high end Pro version, which would you prefer?
I wouldn't do the portable only because, I mean, if I'm going to do the portable only, I'll just get the regular and play that portable.
Okay.
The Pro would really depend on what makes it better than the standard version. But seeing the new versions coming out, it's got me interested. So I'm gonna with the library finally, I mean, filling out to where I'm like, oh my God, there's like a handful of games that I really want to get and play. It's got me thinking about it. So as soon as more information comes out, you know, there may be a show down the line where I'm like, hey guys, look what I got. So we'll see.
Well, I'll tell you this: if they announce that Animal Crossing is only playable on the Switch Pro, I'm gonna have to buy that Switch Pro, because we all know how taxing Animal Crossing is on system resources.
Oh my goodness.
They wouldn't shoot themselves in the foot like that.
There's no way they would do that. No way they would do that. So
yeah.
All right.
But now when the Switch Pro Animal Crossing Edition comes out that has Tom Nook on the back of it, Mike's gonna be standing in line for that one with the handheld cash.
If they released an Animal Crossing limited edition Switch, yeah, I might. Brian, I'll sell you mine for pennies on the dollar.
I was about to say I have an empty package of crayons here to go for it.
Deal.
There you go. That's a good trade.
So, all right. So that's our news. What?
Actually, if I look, I may have the crayon somewhere too, but.
Oh, okay. But it's not worth it. All right, so that's our news for the week. Brian, what games are coming out this week, bud?
Well, we have MLB The Show 19 for the PS4, Outward for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC, Generation Zero for the PC, Xbox One, and PS4, The Walking Dead Episode 4, Take Us Back for the PC, Xbox One, PS4, and the Switch, The Princess Guide for the PS4 and the Switch, Yoshi's Crafted World for the Switch, and Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered for the PS4 and Xbox One. Is Episode 4 for Walking Dead the official last of the Telltale games?
I think there might be one more.
Might be one
I
more?
think there's
Okay.
5 episodes in the Clementine saga. I haven't played the Walking Dead ones. I finished, and I really, and like I've said so many times before, the Walking Dead Telltale games are some of the greatest stories I've experienced. But I haven't really continued that, and I don't know why. But I think I will once they release it all and it's probably on sale or something. I don't need to get the show because I just got the show 18 and I spent $15 on it. Yoshi's Crafted World. I played the demo and I loved the demo and the demo was so good, so I might consider picking that up. That game was so chill and the music was so good. Oh, I love the music. So yeah.
I know that's on my list. I don't know if I'm picking it, I don't think I'm picking it up day one or anything, but it's definitely on my radar and I will keep an eye out for it. I just don't know when I'm going to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah. That's kind of how I'm feeling too. I was like,
yeah.
Yeah. That's about everything that interested me. I still haven't gotten into the Assassin's Creed games. I know you can hate me for that all you want. I just never got into it.
3 was, if I'm not mistaken, one of the better ones, but like I said, I've barely played a couple of them, so I've never got into it myself much either.
Yeah. I thought 3 was kind of slow to begin with before it started getting good. That's what I heard. It was a very slow burn. I don't know. Anything look interesting to anybody? Everyone feels Yoshi's Crafted World is a must-buy? All right, sounds good. I'm glad you all agree.
I haven't played a good baseball game in a long time, so I'm kind of curious about the MLB The Show. Just because the last time I actually played a really good baseball game, believe it or not, was for original NES. So
I was going to ask, is it bases loaded?
Yeah, I mean it's
Nice.
I like the style of just being like, I want to go in that direction and I want to hit the bat, and it's just like your guy runs, and it was so simple. But it was so good. And the music.
Well, that's I know what Mike has mentioned, and that's really what kind of scares me away from a lot of sports games now, is that they're so detail oriented. And for me, like the Madden franchise, I can still get into that because I love football that much. But even that, I still can't really pick that up and play it as much as I used to. So. Mm-hmm. It's very detail oriented. You can't just sit there and drop back 60 yards and then throw a 60-yard pass and score a touchdown every time. It's more specific, and there's a lot more things you have to do to make sure that everything is working right. And I had the feeling that like baseball, and I heard the NBA 2K games are even worse as far as the specifics that you have to do. So they do. I mean, I would love to see it. I know the videos I've seen, they look almost like a real game, like a real sports game, but they're just a little too detailed for me.
Yep, I agree with that. So Brian, you were a fan of Bases Loaded, or were you an RBI person?
I think Bases Loaded was more of my style.
Trivia question. Do you remember the names of the 4 umpires in Bases Loaded? No. I don't think anybody will ever know this except me. Only because I played the game so much. I played that game religiously. In case anyone's wondering, the umpires in Bases Loaded.
Tiki, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde?
Yep, that's exactly who they were. They were the 4 ghosts from Pac-Man.
Nice.
No, it was their names were Yuck, Dumb, Boo, and Bum.
Nice.
So
I think I like Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde better.
How do you remember that?
because I played it all the time when I was a kid, and every time I started a new game, when they show the scoreboard, it says umpires and then their names, and I always thought that was funny that, because everybody hates umpires and refs, they're always the bad guy. So Gamerheads.
Boo and Bum. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, yeah, but.
Yeah. Gamer says, if you like Gauntlet, get the Princess Guide. There's a very arcadey style to it. Ooh.
Is it like Gauntlet?
Hey, anything that's like Gauntlet is good.
I would just say that I had to really concentrate and not say the Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, that's not it. That's not it. It's Guide. It's Guide. It's Guide. It's Guide.
As you wish. So. Nice. All right, so those are all the games coming out this week. Thank you, Brian, for that. All right, so now it's time to get into our retrospective. I'm looking forward to this one. Retrospective is the part of the show where one of the controller throwers is assigned a retro game. Retro, of course, meaning
15 years or older.
The game has to be 15 years or older. That controller thrower's responsibility for the next week is to research that game, find everything they can about it, get any interesting or amusing anecdotes about development. If they have the opportunity to play it, live it, love it, and then come back next week to talk all about it. Brian, this was your game this week, and we gave you an amazing little game that was originally for the arcades and was ported to several home devices. A favorite of mine, and I believe Kurt's as well.
Oh, yeah.
A little arcade game called Arkanoid. So tell us all about this blockbuster. Wait.
Well,
yeah, that was it.
I would, but just to burst your bubble, I didn't do my homework. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh. Yeah. I hate you.
I know, that's why I did it. So, no, like Mike said, Arkanoid was the game, and when it first got assigned, I was like, I'd never heard of this. But then when Mike said, once you see it, you'll know it, and sure enough, when we were doing the post show, I Googled it, and I was like, oh yeah. And yes, I've played this game, like I'm sure everyone has played this game. Originally, though, it was released in 1986 as an arcade game by Taito? Sure. And this game actually expanded upon Atari's breakout games of the 1970s. It added power-ups, different types of blocks, and a variety of level layouts. The title refers to a doomed mothership, which is what you play as. And this game was also ported to several systems, as well as having a sequel called Arkanoid Revenge of Doe.
Doe. I had to say it.
Doe. You know what? I tried my hardest not to, and I really just should have just gone with it. So as I said, the players control the mothership called Veus. I may be horrible with the names, and it was originally played with a paddle. And you literally just bounce the ball up and down and hitting the bricks. And once you hit the bricks, it would then disappear. As the game went on, some of the bricks got different, where you'd have to hit them multiple times. There were also flying enemy ships and power-up capsules that would enhance your ship, which can give you multi-balls, or a laser cannon, which would break the bricks quicker, or just even possibility of just jumping right to the next level. In the original game, there were 33 levels, but in the NES version, there was 36 levels.
Ooh.
And once you made it to the final levels, where you fought the game's boss, Doe.
No.
I mean, that's pretty much what I had on the game. It was very well received when it came out. In Japan, it was awarded. It had awards. It was listed as one of the top 4 games of '86, along with Bubble Bobble, Tecmo's Rygar, and Sega's
Rygar.
Fantasy Zone.
I love
Europe, it
Rygar.
received a bunch of rewards as well. The home versions, which a lot of you have known, that home versions of many arcade games don't really translate very well, but this game actually was very well received, and it was ported to systems very well. Nintendo's version was named the best arcade translation for consoles of that year when it came out, and '88 is actually, I think, when it came out for the Nintendo. I could be wrong about that. Like I said, it's been ported to everything from NES to iOS and Apple's. And that's about it. There's Xbox versions, there's PlayStation versions, there's iPhone versions.
Mm-hmm.
There was a mashup for iOS and Android with Arkanoid versus Space Invaders, which actually sounded pretty.
Oh, that sounds cool.
That does sound pretty cool.
And that was it. One last piece of fun history I saw here was that the world record holder for the score of Arkanoid, by a guy by the name of Zach Hempel, is also known to have has also been known to have snagged more than 10,000 baseballs at Major League Baseball games.
What?
Wow.
Does he hit them back when they come to him?
No kidding, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but I thought that was pretty interesting to see. So
That's crazy.
yeah, like I said, not a whole bunch of information on the game, but still, just one of those classic games that everyone has loved.
Yeah.
I know I did not get a chance to play it recently. I couldn't really find it anywhere, but I do remember playing it for hours on end on both the NES and in the arcade as well. And while I was never super great at it, but it was still always fun to. It was always fun to play.
Yeah, this is a near and dear one to me. I don't know, Kurt? I know you've got a lot of history with this game. The two of you go way back. Did the NES ever have a paddle like the Atari 2600? I don't think I've ever seen one.
No, you played it with just the regular D-pad.
Okay.
Yeah. But I loved this game. My first experience with the game, I don't even know how young I was. I was just I was very young. And my parents used to go bowling on Friday nights, and they would take me with them to the bowling alley. And of course, back in the day, because I'm so old, they used to have arcades inside the bowling alleys. So
Maplewood
I
Lane?
would, So I would legit go in there and spend hours and hours and hours in there while watching the teenage kids of the time play video games. And my parents would only give me maybe $1 in quarters, and that's it. And they're like, okay, well don't spend them all, So I had to okay, do I want a gumball and some cashews from the little vending machine, or do I want to play a video game? I mean, what do I want to do? So I really had to manage my money. But this game, I always used to sit there and be amazed on how well the teenagers at the time were able to play it. And I watched people, and that's the same thing with Gauntlet. This game and Gauntlet are so near and dear to my heart because those are the two games that I tried to play, and Zaxxon, I'm sorry. I tried to play just like the teenagers did. So as soon as the crowd would clear away from the game, I'd put my quarter in, and I'd die instantly. And it was awesome, So I've always had a love-hate relationship with this game.
I will say this, Kurt. In this game, was there ever a feeling any better than when you get that ball towards the top of the screen and it gets stuck?
Yes.
And it just
starts
back
ping-ponging
and
against
and
everything,
forth.
and you're like,
Yep.
I am a golden god.
Yeah, that and the black. I used to call them jelly beans, the little power-ups that would fall. I used to call them jelly beans. But the black jelly bean was the one where you skip to the next level. So I had my favorites, right? Because there was one that would shrink your dude. Oh, they just I just saw it on there. It was in this version, looks like
Like a pill.
pill. Well, it's a pink one.
Yeah.
So these pills that drop, you have a sticky paddle, which means that when a ball hits you, it sticks to you. You had fire or laser, which means you could just laser the blocks. You had one that enlarges your paddle. You also have one that shrinks your paddle. So like there's trolley ones in there too to troll you. But yeah, I remember just constantly playing this game. And I remember like, how difficult it was when you get to, a level like this one where it's all silver and you have to hit that one spot like 3 times in order for the thing to break, But I love this game.
Yeah. No, I agree. I had a ton of fun with this one. My dad was also a big fan of this game. He loved playing this one. And I remember on my computer I downloaded it was a free version of this type of game. But it was called Pez Breakouts. So instead of the blocks, it was all Pez candies. Of course, no surprise, right?
Yep.
So, but yeah, this is a lot of fun game. This is a lot of fun times with this game. They have this over at Pixel Blast, so I've been playing that whenever I go there.
Oh, nice.
They have it at the Ghost also, and every time I go to the Ghost, I have to play at least one round of it.
With the full twisty paddle.
Yep.
Yay.
So, all right. Well, sounds good. Well, thank you very much, Brian. Thank you for the information. That was a lot of fun. Nice trip down memory lane, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So we all know what time it is now. It's time to spin the wheel. And Sherry, it's your turn for your retrospective game. And,
come on, Sherry.
Yeah. So we're gonna have some fun with this. Any guesses on where it's gonna land? Oh, just so you know, Kurt added a new game to it since Arkanoid was his game. Excuse me. He put Gauntlet on the wheel.
Ooh. Okay. Well, we'll see what fate has in store for me.
Any guesses?
Probably the worst thing on there. I don't know.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, so I'll give the wheel a spin. We'll see where we land.
All right.
What's it going to be?
Come on, free pass.
Even if you do get the free pass, it doesn't matter because then it would come to me and I'm not going to be here next week.
Yeah, but I still don't have to do it. So.
And oh!
Wow, X-Men versus Street Fighter.
Nice. X-Men versus Street Fighter. A classic arcade fighter. Hey, that's a good game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She looks so happy about it.
Ecstatic.
I'm excited. Deal with it, Sherry. Oh, I'm going to be gone next week, so I won't even be able to hear about it. That's all right. I'll download the podcast. I'll download the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or at GamerHeadsPodcast.com. I had to find a way to throw it in there somewhere. Wow. All right. So good. So that's so we'll find out all about X-Men versus Street Fighter next week with Sherry's retrospective. So normally this part of the show is where we talk about what we played. But we decided to change things up for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, because whenever we do what we played, we always talk about either Minecraft or Red Dead Redemption. And number 2, and also the reason why we're dressed so spiffily today, we had a pretty fun experience over the weekend. What did we do this weekend, Brizzle?
We attended C2E2 in Chicago.
That's right. We attended C2E2, the pop culture comic convention for nerds of all races, sizes, shapes
and sizes,
genders, and anything like that. We had a good time, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Amazing time.
For those of you who are listening to the show and not watching it, we decided this is the first year we went where we cosplayed. And we went...
Cosplayed.
What's that?
Where you guys cosplayed. I cosplayed last year.
Oh, that's right.
That's
you were
true.
Chick Rick. That's right. Well, where we all decided to.
Yes.
Except
group
me.
Except
I
Brian.
did not.
But you're going to next year. So
Yeah.
we decided to go as the characters from Jurassic Park. So we that's okay.
Sorry.
So we decided to go as the characters from Jurassic Park. So I went as Dr. Grant, and Kurt went as John Hammond, and Sherry went as Ellie Sadler. And then our other friend John, who we've talked about on the show, he went as Malcolm, and Brian went as our spiritual guide.
Brian went as Brian.
Brian went as
I went,
Brian.
yes, I went as myself.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was one of the other regular guests.
Yes. So it was a lot of fun. I can't get over. I mean, we did so much stuff. So Brian and I, this is the first time that Brian and I were there from when they opened the doors to after they turned off the lights.
Yeah. You guys are hardcore.
Yeah. But we went early. So Brian, why did you and I get there so early?
We got there early because I wanted to get the autographs for the characters, the voice actors from the Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain.
Nice.
And we did.
And did you?
We did, yes. Yes.
Yay.
I happened to go. Mike and I, we got there a little early. We actually were expecting traffic, which we did not catch any.
Oh, nice.
So we got there early, and we were actually first in line for two of the characters, two of the actors.
Nice.
And then the lines never really got super long, so we actually just jumped into all four of them, and they started autographing at 11, and by 12, what was it, about 12:15, 12:20?
Yep.
We got all four of them, and we were done.
Nice.
Yeah, it was an absolute blast. So I had a nice conversation with Maurice LaMarche, who does the voice of Yosemite Sam in the new Looney Tunes cartoons. He also was the voice of the Brain in Pinky and the Brain. You also may recognize him as Kif from Futurama, as well as Lur from Omicron Persei 8. And who else?
He
Morbo.
also voices two characters from Final Fantasy X as well.
Characters from Final
He
Fantasy
voices Waka and Kimari.
All right. So yeah, I talked to him. He and I were having just a short conversation about Mel Blanc. So that was pretty cool. And then Brian and I got in line to talk to Rob Paulson, and I really wanted to talk to Rob Paulson because he was the voice of Raphael in the original Turtles cartoon, and he was the voice of Donatello in the could be argued better 2013 or 2012 Turtles cartoon. The argument could be made that was the best version of the Turtles cartoon.
I would say I would have said yes up until the space season.
That's true. I'll agree with that. Well, skip the whole space season and then just watch the next season after that.
And then too, he also has been directing a couple of the episodes of the Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the brand new series.
That's right. Yep, he's directing some of those as well. And he's also, of course, the voice of Pinky and Yakko. So we had a good conversation with him because I wanted to talk to him. I said, "Look, man, there's this question that's been bothering me since I was a kid." And I'm like, "Can you help shine some insight?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure. What?" I'm like, "Well, when I used to watch the Turtles all the time, and I watched the reruns all the time, but on some episodes, there was different actors voicing the Turtles. I mean, it was obvious. You could totally tell that it was not him. It was not Rob that was voicing Raphael. And I always wondered, were you guys sick that day? Was it a voice actor strike?" And he's like, "Oh, I absolutely remember that." And he told me the whole story behind how, why he didn't voice the character of Raphael for those episodes of the Ninja Turtles. And basically what it boiled down to is he was working on another show that was owned by the same company, and they were having him go out and do marketing for the show.
Press release, things like that.
Things like that. So they had him going out, and he said to him, "Hey guys, you want me to go out and do this, but that's fine. I have no problem doing it. But at the same time, I also need to be on my schedule to record these episodes." And he said their whole thing was, you know what, you're completely replaceable. You need to do these press things. And he said he was kind of taken aback by it, that he was so considered so, what's that word? The word escapes me. You know what I'm talking? You know, like.
But like he wasn't like appreciated when he as the character, because they're kind of just they were so quick to replace him that he was just kind of like,
right.
Okay.
Expendable.
Insulted almost.
Expendable.
Yeah. That's the word I was thinking of. Yeah. Yeah. He was like, and he said it wasn't because I felt like I was better than anybody, but he's like, I just felt that like these are the characters. This is part of that character. And then he's like, and he said to me, he's like, you know, he said to Brian, he's like, you know, I really appreciate that you noticed something like that, because that was my biggest concern. So that was pretty cool.
Wow.
That was really cool to hear that behind the scenes stuff. And then he said "narf" to Brian. So
Narf.
Narf.
And I will just say this, because I also enjoyed talking to I stood in line when Mike was in line for Maurice LaMarche. I stood in line for Tress McNally, and I was just telling her how many characters of her that I appreciated, from The Simpsons to Futurama to Pinky and the Brain to Babs Bunny. What was that show, Mike?
Tiny Toons.
Tiny Toons. From all those shows, and even onto shows that like the Rugrats and shows that I didn't watch, but just to see how many characters she does, and how much that I appreciate the work that they put into it. And she was appreciative to hear things like that. And the other guy, Jess Harnell, you know, he was so appreciative to hear how much we enjoyed it. And the thing I really wanted to ask him was about the burps that Wacko always used to do. And I asked him, I'm like, was that him, and was he able to do that, you know, on command? Not really. That I felt a little disheartened to say that it wasn't him that did that. It was actually Maurice LaMarche that did that, and Maurice LaMarche was able to do that on command. Yes.
Wow, that's
awesome.
Yes. So that was
my
kind of
talents as well.
But I mean, the way how all four of them, how just down to earth they were, you know. I mean, Mike can attest to this too. I mean, they were so approachable. They were so willing, not just like, hey, I'm this big voice actor celebrity, and here's my autograph. Get out of my line and go. And like, they would sit and literally have a good 3 or 4 or 5 minute conversation with you, which slowed the line down a lot, but it was like, wow, these guys are taking their time to really talk to you.
Really connect with their fans. Yeah. That's huge.
And even I know, because another reason that we stayed late is because I did get a group photo with them, and that was at like 5:40 in the evening. But even there, they were all, you know, joking around and laughing and, you know, having fun with us while we were in there.
Aww.
And one thing that Mike did not mention about Rob is that 10 minutes before he was set to start signing autographs, he came out and was just walking the line, and he did this at the photo op too, shaking hands with everyone, talking to everyone in line, and just meeting and greeting everybody in his line.
Awesome.
And it was just, I'm still just completely blown away by that. And I wish I had that stuff here with me to kind of show you the autographs and everything.
So yeah, it was we had a great time doing that. And even and
I don't know if you guys can see it or not. There's the group photo.
It's kind of tough to see. It's kind of
blurry. Oh, it moved sideways too on me.
So, and then we ourselves had a little bit of a brush with celebrity, ourselves being the celebrity.
A little bit.
Yeah. So Brian and I did a lot of talking. So Kurt, would you like to tell story time with Kurt with if our Jurassic Park cosplay was popular or not?
Sure. So it started off basically with us parking in the parking garage. As Sherry and I were walking in full costume to the event, in the parking garage, we had people actually whistling the theme to Jurassic Park. Which, to me, I was blown away. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And in the hallways to the convention, people was sitting there saying, oh, my God, you guys look amazing. Oh, my God, this is awesome. You guys are great. I had somebody, while we're in line to get through the metal detectors, that pulled me off the side and said, hey, you should stand in front of the sign with your cane and say, welcome to C2E2. I was amazed on the reception that we got from everybody that was there. I was floored. Standing there waiting for Mike to come up and join us, we had 4 people come up to us and said, oh, my God, I need to take your pictures. And oh, my God,
and it was just the 2 of us.
It was just the 2 of us. We didn't have John and we didn't have Mike there or anybody yet.
Yeah.
It was just the 2 of us, and we already had 4 pictures taken. It was surreal. I mean, it was unbelievable. Like, there was like nobody else around us, and people would just kind of like just gravitate. And it was cool, and it was even better when Mike showed up, and then John showed up, and like once we had the 4 of us together, like everybody just freaked. So we couldn't move from booth to booth to booth without at least having 2, 3, 4 people saying, oh my God, can I take your picture? Or can I get a picture with you guys? Or, I mean, it was unbelievable.
It's my favorite movie. I love you guys. Can I get a picture with you?
Yeah. Yep. Or telling us like how they love Jurassic Park so much, and like the one girl that like the Miss Piggy girl, she I took a picture with her because she had an amazing costume.
Yeah.
She was Miss Piggy, Princess Leia, like combined in one. It was pretty awesome. So prosthetic and all. So when I was sitting there taking a picture with her, because I'm like, I need to get a picture with you, it's awesome. Mm-hmm. She was even telling me, she's like, I have a Jurassic Park truck. She goes, that's my truck that I drive. That's my daily driver. And I'm like, that is awesome. So she was like, not only are you happy to see me, but I'm happy to see you. She's like, that is awesome. Like, so that kind of made my day, right? I was like, all right, that's really cool.
Very cool.
But yeah, I think when we got there, we were able to get some beers. We saw 2 booths, and everything else was taking pictures.
Yeah.
So we saw like maybe a 1/32 of the whole floor, because I think we made like one aisle and that's it. And we didn't see anything else because we were just so just surrounded by people wanting to take our pictures and stuff. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
It was.
There were times, just to add really quick, because I know I've already said a lot, but there were times when they would be facing one way, getting a picture taken, and as soon as that was done, there's people tapping them on the back to turn around and get another picture taken. It's like they couldn't walk 2-3 feet without having groups of people coming from different directions asking for their pictures. I thought it was like I was sitting in the background watching, thinking, this is done right, because these guys are getting pictures left and right.
Right, for such a simple costume. I mean, it's nothing too flashy. It's nothing that we, had to painstakingly put together like a lot of the costumes that we saw there. But when all 4 of us were together, it was super effective, and people just loved it. We nailed it as a group. And that's what made it.
Even when John left early and there was just the 3 of you, it was still.
Oh, sure.
People were still drawn to you guys.
Yeah. My favorite was the zombie that came up to us, and he was in character,
the whole time.
He said, childhood, and he wanted to take a picture of us. I couldn't stop laughing. I think I was probably laughing at his picture, but that's what made my day.
He was so good because he was in character the whole time. He's like, childhood. And then he didn't even say picture. He just kind of mimed the picture. And we're like, yeah. Go ahead. We tried to like interact with him, and he would not break character.
That's awesome.
And his costume was amazing. I mean,
Yes.
talking about just looking like a zombie. I mean, we do that when we don't sleep that much and don't have coffee. But I'm saying, like, amazing job on the costumes that we saw.
Yep.
Which brings us to, what is your favorite costumes that you saw at C2E2? I want to say, like, the Miss Piggy one, that one was awesome. Like, that was one of the top ones for me because her prosthetic was so well done. I literally had to take a triple take and went, wait. I'm like, do you really have a pig snout? Because it was blended so well. It looked realistic and everything. I'm like, holy cow. That's got to be one. The zombie one was also amazing. And I know that we have an awesome picture of Sherry. So do you want to tell which one you liked?
Me?
Yeah.
I
know which one. Come on. She was
the one where I was touching Samus.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Samus, that one. Oh, there was an amazing Samus there. Amazing
I had to
Samus.
touch it because I wanted to see what it was made out of. Because I'm very, I admire these people's hard work and what they put into these costumes, and know just they put their blood, sweat, and tears into these things. And there are so many costumes that I saw that I'm not even sure what the character was or where they were from, but they were just so intricate and detailed that you have to stop and appreciate it. You really do. So I took a picture with Samus, and she was in her, full getup. She didn't have the helmet on, but she had, the body armor and everything. And we took a picture, and then I started touching her, and I was like, I'm sorry. I just wanted to see what your costume was made out of. And she was really cool about it and explained to us the whole process and how it took her about 10 months to make,
10 months.
and
self-taught herself how to solder electronics to make the parts and everything glow. I thought that was like, when she said that, I'm like, and I think, did she say that was her first cosplay that she's ever done?
She said it was the first one that she did,
So for her to like spend 10 months, teach yourself how to solder and make the costume and everything else, and it turned out as good as it did. I mean, if I knew who that girl was, I would just love to follow her on like Instagram or whatever to see what she does in the future with cosplay, because if this is her first one and it was that amazing, I would be just overwhelmed to see what she will do next year.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It was, and it was so cool. Yeah, that Samus. There's one thing I wanted to point out before we get into other people's, is the one thing that I noticed about a lot of people that wanted to get their picture taken with us is there were a lot of people that had Jurassic Park shirts on, or even like there was even people with Jurassic Park tattoos and stuff that they were showing us.
Yes.
Just like like there was the one guy with the shirt that said Dino DNA with Mr. DNA on it.
Yeah.
Everybody was just so cool when they came up and talked to us. It really, like, I must have said to Kurt and Sherry and Brian about 10 times, like, I am beaming right now. I am in just such a good mood with all the love that we're getting for this.
Yeah, and the one girl
very
they had
humbling.
And the one girl they had the ankle tattoo, the Jurassic Park like logo on her ankle, and I was like, you are hardcore. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the awesome cosplay that I saw. So there was the one guy that was dressed up like Samurai Link from Legend of Zelda. That was a really good one. That's one that he made all on his own, and it looked really good. It looked like if they actually made a Legend of Zelda game where it was like samurai times, that would be a perfect fit. There was there was Tingle. Tingle was the best. Brian, you were there for Tingle.
The way he was walking around, the way that guy was walking around, like he was like full on in character. The way he was walking, it was I don't want to say incredible to see, but he just the way that this person got into that character was awesome.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. And then, of course, I absolutely flipped when I saw Dutch and Sadie from Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they were probably a good 15 to 20 feet away from me, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my god, and then everybody's like, what are you doing? And I just yell out at the top of my lungs, hey Dutch! And and he turns around and he's like, he has a cigar and he's like, I'm like, get over here, I want to get a picture.
Yeah, that was
they were
awesome.
good.
They looked
Yes.
really good.
They looked,
Yeah.
yes. They
What
did.
made that funny? I wasn't there for that. I was, I think, getting my group photo done. But the whole time we were there, the whole time I was with Mike, he kept saying, next year we have to go as characters from Red Dead 2.
Yep.
And I'm just
Good
like,
job.
that, and we're like, yeah, that wouldn't be so hard to pull off. And we're like, we don't think we'll see anybody with it now. And this, when he was like, yeah, I saw Dutch and Sadie, and I'm like, now what are we gonna do for next year?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, we could probably go as the same people and just add people and a dinosaur, and
Yeah.
we'll probably get the same response we did this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
So yeah, to add to that before we go on to, I was supposed to be the dinosaur, but I was supposed to get one of those blow up T-Rex costumes, but I could not find one that fit. I mean, I'm 6'4".
Yeah.
The biggest one I saw was for people who are about 5'8". So it
you
would
would have been
have,
hunched over in it.
or the dinosaur feet would have came up to my knees, and it just would not have looked right. But then at the last minute, and I probably could have thrown it together really fast, would have been Dennis Nedry, the
Yeah.
guy who basically sabotaged the whole thing.
Yep.
Right.
But part of my problem too is that I didn't want to get a group photo with the Animaniacs with these voice actors being dressed in costume.
Sure.
Yeah.
And to add to that, the person in line behind me, when I got that group photo, he was dressed up as Aladdin.
There you
And
go.
he looked amazing. And even Rob Paulson complimented this guy on how good he looked. But he's also got this photo now of him dressed up as Aladdin
Right.
with these 4 voice actors. So I just didn't want to do that.
Mhm.
Sure.
So.
Although we did find our dinosaur.
We did.
We
We
did.
found
We
a
did.
wild
Yep.
T-Rex.
Yep.
We found a T-Rex in the wild, so that was
Yes.
pretty awesome.
Yes, it was.
So yeah. So that was our C2E2 experience. It was an absolute blast. Last year was kind of like we were actually talking last year about not going again, but we decided we'll give it another shot, and then just adding the whole cosplay aspect to it was incredible. So I have a ton of respect for anybody who like really takes that cosplay seriously and really puts in the effort. It's a lot of fun. So
There's so many amazing costumes, like the Mario and Wario and
like the biker gang.
The post-apocalyptic Mario group. They
Yes.
were really
Yeah.
awesome.
They were
Yeah.
really good. Like
They were
there's
good, too.
there's so many that it's hard to mention everybody, but it's just there was so many amazing costumes.
The Cuphead and Mugman couples
Yes.
costume.
Yes.
The couple costume, that was so cute. Yeah.
There was the Eevee trainer, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I gave her one of the perler beads. I gave her a Leafeon, and I said, "Oh, I love your Eevee costume. Here's a Leafeon." And she absolutely she melted. She was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then when I turned away, I hear her turn to her boyfriend. She's like, "Honey, look, it's a Leafeon." I'm like, "Yes, that's so exciting."
Aww.
So we're all us geeks can get together and really just have a good time. So it was a lot of fun. So.
It was.
All right, so that just about does it for this week's episode of the Controller Throwers podcast. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching and listening. We really appreciate it. Be sure to check us out on the social medias. You could find us on Facebook at facebook.com/TCThrowers. You could also find us on Twitter at TCThrowers. That's at T as in Tom, C as in Charlie, Throwers as in throwing things. If you want to throw us an email, I did it again. Yeah. You could send us one at thecontrollerthrowers@gmail.com. You can also find the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and the group that we are very proud to be members of. Head over to gamerheadspodcast.com. You can also find the Gamerheads podcast to listen to as well. That's another great show. So I will not be here next week. We will have a special guest, though. So we hope you stick around next week or listen next week. Just join us next week, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Just do things.
Just do things. Twitch.tv/TCThrowers. And until next Tuesday, everybody, have some fun, play some games. We'll see you all next time. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Bye.